Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Pinball Arcade. So last time we did Cactus Jack's, a pretty pathetic table. Today we're doing Class of 1812, which I have no idea what this is going to be around. It's a Gottlieb, and honestly I haven't really loved a lot of the Gottlieb tables. It seems to me like this is a spooky Halloween themed, which is weird because I think Cactus Jack's was also a Gottlieb, so they apparently released two tables in the same year, which is asking a lot. It might explain why Cactus Jacks felt like an unfinished product. Um, Class of 1812, released in 1991, which is 9 years uh, difference, is a fright for all ages. This supernatural themed table was designed by Ray Tanzen and Joe Kaminkow. I'm not sure if we've heard of Ray Tanzen. I really wish we could get a list of the people's tables that they worked on without having to go to a website. Players are challenged by collecting 5 unique characters by lighting all of the bonus level lamps. The playfield features a severed hand and an animated mechanical beating heart and chattering teeth, and synchronized to the game's music and speech. The chattering teeth are synchronized to the game's music and speech. 1,668 units of this table were produced. Which is interesting because that does mean, I think, slightly more tables were produced for Cactus Jacks. Which I could see maybe Gottlieb. No, I don't think Gottlieb made Cactus Jacks. I could see, though, Gottlieb creating a smaller amount of these tables for fear that they would get too spooky. This artwork, wow, look at all the wear and tear on that wood. Um, could be a little creepy, um, de- depending on your sentimentality. In the 90s, it would have been perfectly acceptable. In 2021, who knows? There's a lot of lights here and some kind of grid of lights. Here you have a creepy zombie and Grover. Interesting. So there's Willy Wolf, Belly, Vamp the Tramp, Day Tramp, Peter Piecemeal, and Mumsy in Law. So these are all different kinds of monsters, I suppose, uh, that are going to be inspired by the Universal Monsters. So you have a ramp up here called the Score Batometer with a fang and a tongue. I don't know if they're trying to sell on sex or sell on spooky or which, if not both. You've got some flying bats, funny pun, and some balloons. Another ramp up here that seems to go somewhere, but I can't really tell where. I don't know if it loops back over here or what. And then you have a door prize. Does that open? Or the ball goes under that? And then you have shoot the crypt. And then another ramp up here with a hand, a severed mechanical hand with a ring on it. Interesting. These do feel like these would be plastic gimmicky things. Here you have a chainsaw. Then 3 rollovers, 3, I would say perfectly aligned but slightly smaller pop-up bumpers. And instead of having a standard just standing target in front of the pop-up bumpers, they've gone with a sinker, which maybe could slow the ball down a little bit and make sure it doesn't drain. And then there's 3 really tiny standing targets next to that area. Those might be slightly hard shots. This table doesn't seem like it's got too much that's that weird. But we shall see. A lot of this see-through plastic stuff, I'm not sure I fully understand what goes where. And then double bad eyes for rewards. And then I guess the crypt might be back that way, or maybe back that way. Let's see. So we've got a creepy, I guess it's a guy in a kilt. Let's see. Zombie, I guess that's a guy, but that might be a creepy girl. Then you've got a guy with a pitchfork serving hot dogs. Then you've got a Frankenstein monster. You've got some more funny names. You've got a mummy and a vampire lady and a fat Dracula. It almost feels like this is a pitch for a 90s cartoon. Some rats. Mumsy-in-law, Vamp the Tramp. Yeah, I could see this very much lining up in the same way with something like Tales from the Crypt, which Tales from the Crypt started as an HBO adult series and eventually turned itself into a short-run Nickelodeon-style Double Dare kids prize show. So we want to score Crypt Million, earn an extra ball, score Zombies bonus, or score Grover's Millions, score a 1,000,000-point shot. Alright, let's hop into the game and try this out.
My name is Zombie and I'm your host. Revive my friends to score the most.
Interesting. The chattering teeth are synchronized accurately with the dialogue. And I imagine that's all pre-programmed and not happening as I'm playing. There's a lot of red in the back art here. So there's an extra ball. Once again, I am not sure which angle I really want on the tables.
My name is Mumsy. I may look clumsy when I do the script. The boys will flip.
Interesting. We got all kinds of rapping music.
Shoot the ball.
Okay, well. So 2-ball multi-ball. I'm not sure if there is a 3-ball multi-ball. There's a chicken singing it. I like this theme. It's crazy, but I like it because this is certainly something different. If you had played 5 other tables and you saw this, you would potentially find this a refreshing break. Let's see. So that's the door prize. Interesting, and I got the extra ball early on this table. This is possibly just too easy a table. I'm not sure what the skill shot really is.
Oh, excuse me.
This might be too easy of a table. It's got a center lane peg. I'm not sure if it's got kickbacks. I would suspect maybe it doesn't. Where frankly, I still feel like every table should have a center lane peg, a ball saver feature, and kickbacks. It should be fairly hard, particularly on your first ball, to quick drain out. You should get minimum of a couple minutes of gameplay. And you can't just make up for that by having pity replays or pity extra balls handed out in the match game at the end. Because at that point, the game is over.
Shoot the ball.
Now, I will argue that this is maybe too much of a gimmick. Like, you've got the interesting music, but also you've got a horror theme, and you've got chattering teeth and a severed hand and a beating heart. I feel like you could have eliminated the beating heart element or the severed hand element and just put art there. Saved yourself a little bit of money.
Oh, excuse me.
My name is Willie, don't think I'm silly. When the moon is full, your neck I'll pull out.
So each of the monsters seems to have their own little rap. I don't get the 1812 element. If anything, this might be an outreach, as crazy as this might sound, this might be an outreach to the African American community and the rap fan community in general. I wouldn't be surprised if higher ups at Gottlieb would have said, no, you can't put people of color on the table, but you can put rap on the table, and they go, well, we'll just make the monsters. It wouldn't be the first time that somebody has made an analogy by making a horror movie that really was an analogy to just urban struggle or urban lifestyles. Urban's probably the wrong word to use. African American lifestyles. Wow, that ball just hovered. I feel like you could do better if you had lights. There's an extra ball. And then they're mixing rap with also kind of classical music. In a funny way, this has better music than the Phantom of the Opera did. There's a million bonus.
See you at the next reunion.
So that got me to the second row. 1812. 1991. Oh, I guess that would have been 189 years. What difference? Not just 9 years. I didn't do the math right. Zombies bonus. One of the highest score modes on this table is the Zombies bonus. To activate this mode, complete the bank of left algorithm when the bonus is lit. Once the lock cryptlet is lit, cryptlock starts here. Once zombie bonus mode is activated, the value starting at 6 million starts counting down, and one of the spot targets behind the bank lights shoot the lit target to score the current value on display. Okay, I think we got that. Grover's Millions. Seems like it's more than just hitting all 4 of the drop-down targets, though. 15-second countdown to hit one of the spot targets behind it. Yeah. I'm not really a fan of drop targets with spot targets behind them. That just seems to be that seems like it is just artificially increasing the number of times you have to hit the same shot over and over again. Cannon and D. With a chicken. I do like the sinker target. Alright, hit it. Missed it. Come on, Grover's millions. See, I was even succeeding somewhat to flip the ball to the other flipper. Still possible to have the occasional game. Now, I don't know where you spell, how you spell coffin, and I don't know what spelling coffin does for you. So there's still a lot of this table to learn. And I think what's interesting about this table is that unlike the Elvira table, unless there is some license behind this that I'm not aware of, you would just own this property and be able to make a sequel without renegotiating license. But the name is terrible. Class of 1812 does not imply anything to do with monsters to me. I would think you'd call them the horrors of 1812. Something like that.
Oh, excuse me.
Okay. Now, what am I aiming for? I guess I was aiming to hit more of those standing targets because nothing else was blinking. Of course, there is that. What is it? There's a cartoon now that has made like three different movies that I thought it was actually a pretty good animated movie. I don't know if it was called Monster Bash or Monster Mash or Monster Hotel. I think it was called Monster Hotel or Hotel Transylvania or something like that. And that is the same theme, at least for the first movie, is that a whole bunch of older monsters get together. Although the movie's so much about family, you have like the werewolf show up and he's got a whole litter of werewolf kids. Whereas these are more the traditional immortal loner monsters. But even in that, each character has their own gimmick. I imagine at some point they didn't want chattering teeth, but they actually wanted a full skeleton, but couldn't get it to fit at the right scale. And getting chattering teeth would have been way easier than a custom skeleton.
on me a tramp when the hips go bump, your heart will pump.
There's still seemingly an underuse of the table as far as these lights here. They seem to just be a square instead of just a combination of things. Yeah, I don't know if there's something you do that fills these in and gets specific hits or not. Let's keep on playing.
My name is Zombie and I'm your host. Revive my friends to score the most.
This might be a table where I might not want to put it down as much as I should, but I've also only been playing for 20 minutes, so another 40 minutes I may have had my fill. It's somewhat linear and simplistic. We are getting a decent amount of multi-balls here, like almost 2 or 3 every game, and I don't think that's just because I'm getting better at pinball.
Shoot the ball. Shoot the ball.
It does kind of abruptly stop the music whenever you start a multi-ball. But I literally had like 3 multi-balls in a row there. And I think you just keep on getting an instant multi-ball as long as you can hit that area, that sink target. And I kind of feel like the chicken coming in implies there might be even another track that comes in, some other silly sound. I think there's a slight danger in having a Halloween style themed table. You can't have too many of them because it's gotta sell year round. This is a problem with like Halloween themed video games in general, is that they never really work because you probably don't want to play them 11 months out of the year.
Shoot the ball.
And pretty much there's no market for Christmas or Thanksgiving themed or any other holidays as far as video games. We probably could do an interesting Thanksgiving themed pool table where you're stuffing a live turkey up the center lane, and so you literally are shooting the pinball up the keister of the turkey, and it like inflates with like a pump and gets bigger and bigger. Yeah, that would be a funny table.
My name is Zombie and I'm your host. Revive my friends to score the most.
I love that it does the rap every time you start a game. That's something that Bride of Pinbot needed, is that she needed to have a line of dialogue she played at the beginning of each game, so you could hear the Bride of Pinbot's voice compared to Pinbot's voice, which is way less older technology and thus way more mechanical. And that it would have given you a bit of a goal. Like he's not just giving you a rap and entertainment, he's telling you exactly what the goals of the table are. Revive each of his friends. Now, do you know how to do that? Probably not on the first game you ever played, but as you learn the table, you will get that.
My name is it's Nelly. My breath is smelly. When it's black as night, I love to buy.
And there's 2 vampires, which is
Shoot the ball.
interesting, but this is no reason to not have multiple monsters of the same kind. Plus, Dracula, a Dracula, cliche Dracula versus a female vampire is practically a completely different offering. If anything, you would maybe move the female vampire into a succubus territory, but in 1991, I imagine not too many people would have known what a succubus is. I think you could fix some of the angles in exiting the bumpers.
My name is Zombie and I'm your host. Revive my friends to score the most.
Maybe get the out lanes so that they're less likely to drain. Maybe pull a couple of ramps down closer to the center table. I did complain about on Cactus Jack how a lot of lights were used to basically depict the exact same redundant information. I think you have the exact same situation happening on this table too, unless every single one of those square lights is an indicator of 1,000 going towards your bonus, in the ball bonus. I'm not sure if there is an in the ball bonus hold. You probably could have several kinds of bonus holds added to almost every table, and that would be appreciated, and it would probably give you more of a thing to focus on, a secondary mission. Of course, as long as I'm trying to hit the 2 straight line drop down targets on the left and right, I'm going to be in a fairly dangerous situation. And that highlights the problem with straight drop down targets. Pretty much anywhere you put them on the table, they're going to be problematic. Werewolf sound over and over
My name
again.
is Peter. I'm a red meat eater. Touch my force, I'll stomp you, dork.
That was an example of the ball getting stuck. And honestly, you should just let it be stuck, because every time you hit something, you're gonna get some amount of score. As long as you don't put the controller down. So I guess the crypt is maybe a sneak-in bonus, somewhat. Yeah. And see, I don't even know if there are great ways to light specials on the outlane drains. 5 million score, decent score. Kind of low though. We are still in the midst of score creep. But million point shots make sense. Billion point shots don't make sense. You can't, by 1991's time, have a table that gives out like 100,000 points or a 10,000 point score. But if you divided everything by the least achievable score on a table, you probably can't get less than 2,000 or 3,000 on this table no matter what you do. I got to shoot again, I think, but then that reset the drop targets, so much for that being helpful.
Shoot the ball.
Yeah, 30 minutes in, this is getting fairly repetitive. I like the theme of this table more than a lot of the other tables I've seen lately, but it needs more work. Just the fact that there are 2 straight drop-down targets on both sides shows that they're not really pushing themselves too hard to think of something unique. Like, if you think about it, have we seen on any other table mirrored content in major parts? Not really. You might have a ramp that goes to the left and a ramp that goes to the right. But even then, the ramps tend to look different and move slightly different. Yeah, I guess the lights in the square are indicating what your end of ball bonus score would be, because they do seem to be glowing.
Name is Peter, I'm a red meat eater. Touch my force, I'll stomp you, dork.
So I wonder if Peter is a cannibal.
My name is Willie, don't think I'm silly. When the moon is full, your neck I'll pull out.
It feels like what should happen here is you should free all of these people, and then you would have a final rock concert almost when you collected everybody. Because that's what it's saying you're doing, is you're digging them up, these monsters. Which I don't know where they would have learned how to rap if they've been buried since 1812.
Shoot the ball.
Kind of feels like they need two songs to play at this point. So often you're getting the multi-ball. There's Grover's Millions. I probably can't trigger the other guy until Grover's Millions is done. The werewolf sound is getting a little repetitive now. Yeah, this is kind of like an action movie that that if an action movie is an hour and 30 minutes, it's fine, but if an action movie goes 3 hours, it becomes repetitive. I think they front-loaded all the action on this and all the excitement for this table, so that the first time you play it, great. By the time you've played it for 35 minutes, not so great. And it's not like now would be the time in 1991 or 92. That wouldn't have been the time where you really needed people to get bored of tables and move on to other tables.
My name is Zombie and I'm your host. Revive my friends to score the most.
So I think the only goal I have left is to get the zombie bonus, which is a matter of time. There we go. With help from the slingshots, got it. And that's the last standard goal. So you might as well, at this point, just finish the ball and let him drain. If you're just trying to save time. I thought the severed hand would move or something, but it doesn't seem like it really does. Which, yeah, that does make it feel like it's an unnecessary element. It feels like you could have had the severed hand missing and move the heart over to where the severed hand is. Move this beating heart here. Maybe the severed hand here is to hide this spider in case people are arachnophobic. But also, if you got rid of the severed hand, you could have probably put the chattering teeth more front and center. So we're looking for score the jackpot, earn the bonus level special, earn the battle-meter special, advance the multiplier by 7 times, and score at least 60 million points. Which, yeah, that's, oops, did not mean to go that far. What's funny is I feel like there's also another class of table that we're going to eventually run into. Maybe not. So it's... So I didn't mean to jump out there. It's kind of a tall order, but not super crazy. Because you can get a 7 times multiplier, you can get multiples super easy. In the multiples you can get millions. There's actually quite a lot of shots where you can get millions. So I guess 10 million times 7 would be 70 million. It's still not really close to 60 million though. Oh yeah, it is.
My name is Stamp, they call me a tramp. When the hips go bump, your heart will pump.
I imagine in 2021 there might be some complaints of having a tramp character or using the word tramp. But I would say, at least in the scale of the pinball tables we've seen so far, this is the first one where you have female voice actors actually getting work and voicing a character, and female characters on equal level of display and focus, where we've seen lots of tables like Lights Camera Action where there's just females drawn and then They play no role in the story at all. Another delayed instance of needing to jostle the table. You probably can notice a recurring theme on tables now in 91, where clearly there was some kind of speakers or power supply that was at the back part of pinball tables, and that is taking up less room, if no room. So the back panels of tables are getting now used as free space, which, yeah, if you're going to build a pinball table today, you would have kind of an incredible amount of free space available to you. I don't know if you can really do too much with it, unless you just want to put a whole second pinball table under the first one. So I'm getting 6 or 7 million on an average game. I just have to get 10 times better, 10 times luckier. And with the wizard goals, maybe I would have a little bit more to focus on. And without being able to actually see what's lit up well in the top lane there, I'm just randomly flipping the flipper to see if the lane change will light something or not.
My name is Belly, my breath is smelly. When it's black as night, I love to buy. Shoot the ball.
I don't know what I just started in that section. This table feels like it desperately needs a 3-ball multi-ball, and it just doesn't have it. Which is weird, because there are 2 places where you could lock a ball, certainly. So I don't know why it's not opting for that option. Like, I would think if you locked the ball in the crypt in the back, it should probably have you just launch a new ball, and then when you hit the sinkhole in the top center, which is a really easy shot, that would be the point to start a 3-ball multi-ball. Or if you hit a ramp twice or something, then you get a quick multi-ball. When I tried that. Alright, let's double check we know what we're doing. Okay, so hit both ramps. Collect all 5 stiffs to get a special. Light all 5 bonus lamps. When the ball drains, you're on the end of ball bonus for each bonus level. Alright, so if you could get everybody. Earn the battle meter special. hitting nose targets, which I've not been really focusing on those targets. Those are hard targets to hit. So you have to complete it and then shoot the spinner. Okay. Million points at the beginning. Right, 60 millions. Tall order.
My name is Zombie and I'm your host. Revive my friends to score the most.
Interesting that it says a game of skill, it's more fun to compete. That they're still fighting off claims of pinball being gambling, I suppose. Although by 1991, I don't think the accusation would be that pinball tables are gambling, legally speaking. It may be that they're saying playing pinball is more fun than playing a video poker type device, which by 91 that would have been the real competition is video poker consoles. And arguably there are, particularly in like Vegas and in truck stops, more video poker devices in 2021 than there are pinball tables out there. So the gambling won, as it probably would have always won, because gambling is inherently designed to be addictive more than video games are, or pinball is. That might be a sad statement for video games in the future. We may see that gambling, free-to-play style games start to flood the market so much that they suck all the oxygen out of the room for even AA and AAA games.
Shoot the ball.
The music there should fade out, but I bet the circuitry they had couldn't do that. Yeah, interestingly, I suppose pinball tables never had a user-selected audio volume. Like, it was always designed to be as loud as possible, but and if you didn't like the loud machines in an arcade, you would just have to wear your earplugs or headphones. And even in 91, having a Walkman and headphones to listen to music or radio would have been an expensive gadget to have extra. And even in 91, getting earplugs would have been hard to do. Safety equipment like that wasn't as common. Where if you were making modern tables now, I think you would have a user-selected range and then a owner-operator selected range of audio and a tracked mode volume versus a player volume. Just put like a dial on the front of it with, yeah, and I would make tables use Bluetooth headphones or connect to Bluetooth headphones or have surround sound headphone support, simulated surround sound headphone support. And I don't know what you can really improve as far as visuals on pinball. Just really high resolution art, I suppose. High resolution monitors. It wouldn't be crazy to put a 4K monitor on a pinball table, although that might not be really worth it if you're not going to show full video. And I guess I haven't seen a table that has wanted to show a lot of full motion video of any sort. Yeah, there have been some LCD pixel art and display, but if you're going to remake like Star Trek The Next Generation, you'd almost certainly replace a lot of that art with animated 3D models.
Shoot the ball.
So if you hit million, it lights the red light in the middle of the table. Or it did, at least.
Oh, excuse me.
My name is Peter, I'm a red meat eater. Touch my force, I'll stomp you, dork.
So I should be trying to advance the battometer. Really, all I'm trying to do right now is just play and have fun with it. And it does put me in a weird position for a table like this if I just want to play and have fun instead of trying to get the goals. That's probably the right position to be in, though. Like if I'm having fun playing this table, which I mostly am, I definitely could see some room for some improvement. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't put as much effort into this as they could have, because they knew it was going to be a Halloween theme and not sell as often. This might also just be a case of Gottlieb maybe reaching the end of its tether and only being able to produce 1,600 tables. If you have like 300 days a year to make a table, and it takes you a third of a day to make one table, then no, it'd be closer to a fifth of a day to make 1,600 tables. That would go to show how the factory line concept, while implemented in pinball building and development, still was very kind of lacking. Like it was not at a massive scale. I bet it took them at least a fifth of a day to build a single table. And the pinball is just not a product that you can ship the vast majority of production over to like China or Japan maybe at the time. It's just not going to work. You can get the circuitry made in a foreign country using slave labor and massive overpopulation, but the assembly of the actual components you really can't do in a foreign country, because that 300-pound pinball cabinet is just too expensive to ship across the world a couple times. That's the only reason why car manufacturing in the United States lasted as long as it did, is that while a lot of the components certainly could have been and were made overseas, the actual assembly of doors and hoods and trunks and wheel wells and things like that had to be done on native soil. Also creates a scenario where, like, whatever country you're in, you're best off probably buying a car from a company that is that is building cars in that native land, because importing is dangerous and expensive.
See you at the next reunion.
Feel like I can do one more game and then I need to call it a day.
Zombie and I'm your host. Revive my friends to score the most.
Yep. There's still plenty of wizard goals to do, which
Shoot the ball.
oddly shows that this table isn't as easy as it seems at first. There are some things that need to be done on it that take a little bit more focus. But I also feel like there could have been some extra content, some extra polish. Mostly what I'd like to see on this table is just some holdover. Just being able to hold over the bonus, hold over the characters that you've dug up. Some reprogramming. This might be an ideal table for a custom ROM if you were to get your hands on a table like this. This also might be an ideal table to look out for. Even though only 1,600 units were made, this isn't going to be like Funhouse or Twilight Zone where everybody is looking to get their hands on those tables. So you might be able to get one that is in ready to refurb or almost completely refurbed condition for maybe just $1,000 instead of $2,000 or $3,000.
My name is Willie, don't think I'm silly. When the moon is full, your neck I'll pull out.
Oh, excuse me.
I'm going quiet now. And see, I can't even remember if there was a goal to hit both of the ramps, or if that was the last table I looked at. Wow, if I can just keep getting shots up that ramp. Trying to hit those bat drop standing targets.
Touch my force, I'll stomp you, dork.
If I'm doing on Decent Balls 3 characters, I'm not that far away from getting 5 characters. It would just be a matter of getting lucky.
Oh, excuse me.
I do kind of feel like this table scores a little low when they give you a wizard goal of getting 60 million. All of a sudden the scoring becomes a bit of an issue.
See you at the next reunion.
Alright. Let's see. Well, see what we might be able to change. Wow. Camera's not even zoomed in right. So it's a plus, a minus, and an escape this time. No. The push credit, memory test. Okay, lamp check, matrix, relay solenoid, display test, sound test. Actually, hmm. Push R white button. This is not what I was expecting for the sound test. Like, this table doesn't even make those kinds of sounds. Front door test. Memory test. Is there no way to get the music to play? Well, that sucks. Because that would be the one thing I would want to do is see if I could hear all the music playing. But I guess you can't pull that one off.
My name is Zombie and I'm your host. Revive my friends to score the most.
These could have been, instead of monsters, I guess, Circus Freaks. I think I probably messed up the memory in some way. Let's try that again. Yeah, geeks and freaks, I could see that being the theme here.
My name is Zombie and I'm your host. Revive my friends to score the most. The crypt. Take your million and grab.
Right. So, hitting each one of those bats.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, the ball control still doesn't really work. There's extra ball. See, just trying to get the multiplier up to the highest, even with ball control, is fairly impossible. I feel like what you've got here is a case of the upper play field just being a little difficult to stay in, and just a little bit more designed to make it a little bit more of a game.
Shoot the spinner. Shoot the spinner. Shoot the spinner.
Alright, now. So shoot the spinner. That would have been the special.
Shoot the ball.
So, pretty much can't do anything while I'm doing this, so I might as well just try and keep the balls up high and then play for fun. And anytime like one ball starts to fall downward, I'm gonna just energize it back up into the flippers. with ball control, which that doesn't really work because that means I'm using my left thumb and my left trigger, and wow, I almost got all the way up that ramp. I cannot get the pop ball here. I'm trying really hard to get it to load. So we're at like 9 million now with a multiplier of 5 and 2, which I don't know if that means we've gotten the multiplier at the maximum or not. What I'm doing here though is not increasing my score by massive amounts. Like, we're still at like 10 million. I guess 10 million times 70 though is enough. So if I've got the 7 multiplier, also I've managed to free everybody, it looks like, and dig everybody out. So that's not like a completely unreasonable amount of performance, particularly if you didn't do all that in one multi-ball game. But once you have accomplished everything on the table, there's once again kind of nothing to do. You're just trying to hit the ramp for more million. Let's call it good enough. And just play the rest of this ball. So everything is lit up. And it says 5 or S. Now it's saying 4. Interesting, so it's lighting up the score. And I either dug up everybody, and now I'm just shooting for the... Yeah, I dug up 5 stiffs times 7, and so that gave me 29 million. Oh, so you really do have to do better than what I just did twice, which that seems crazy. So even trying to cheat here, the ball's just not wanting to cooperate. And in this mode, it's just not a lot to do. It's just start another multi-ball. I apparently locked in several extra balls, or a couple extra balls. Which I guess extra balls would help. feel like when you knock down these side targets, you should be able to add more time by hitting other targets. I mean, that would be a little bit of a weird hurry up challenge, but not super crazy. See, that just got me up to 37. So even halfway, starting off with lots of cheating, there's still too much of a challenge here to actually get to 60 million. If anything, this is highlighting the fact that the wizard goals are not realistic and they weren't thoroughly play tested enough for an average gamer. But maybe the wizard goals aren't for average gamers, but typically nowadays every video game that does have achievements kind of expects most players to be able to get all the achievements. Sometimes it takes more grinding. And if we get back to the reality check of it, I have 62 out of achievements for Pinball Arcade, and there are 223 that are still locked. So even if I could get all the wizard challenges and achievements done for this table, there's still a large number of tables where I don't know if I'd ever want to put in the time to try and get that. I guess I do have a multiplier holdover happening here.
Oh, excuse.
My name is Willie, don't think I'm silly. When the moon is full, your neck I'll pull out.
There is certainly elements here on this table that I still don't know how I'm triggering certain coffins and certain people being dug up. So that's kind of a problem too. Is it hitting the two ramps and spelling coffin? Probably.
See you at the next.
And see, that was 44 million, which is still 16 million short, and that was cheating. Which, that's asking a lot. Not sure if we ever got this. Yeah, I think we got this. Let's look at the leaderboards and then call it a day. So, I have no friends, first of all. Overall, you've got a couple of cheaters at 2 billion, and then you get very reasonable 650, 400 million, 10 times what the wizard goal is, not even 10 times what the wizard goal is all time. This does kind of feel like a table that I imagine fewer people actually played. And by the time you're hitting, I want to get the exact number here, 60 million minimum, you would have to be in the top, what, 300 maybe, 400 players of people who have ever played this table. Yeah, that's kind of ridiculous that you would sell a commercial product in modern times and expect only the top 500 people to be able to get a wizard goal. See, it was still scrolling down here. It's definitely going to be less than 1,000. So yeah, let's say you bought this table and or 1,000 people bought this table and got over 60 million. That leaves every other person who you would have had to sold this table to disappointed and kind of disenfranchised. Plus, certainly you would want to sell at least 300,000 copies. That's about the good point for most games, as 300,000 is good for an indie or double A. Getting up to 1 million or more for a triple A is good. So yeah, you'd have to be in the top 832 players to get that wizard goal. That seems ridiculous. And then if we were to look weekly, playing this on a Wednesday, where am I and how many people have played? I am in the top 33 players, and well, seemingly higher number of people have played than I thought. Although in all fairness, when you're starting getting into scores of less than a couple million, they must not have played very much. Yep. I think one of the problems with class of 1812 is definitely the case of it simply not having name recognition. I think that's a major problem here. Whereas if this was the Elvira table, that would work. Although the Elvira table, I'd argue is better designed. Yeah. And then over-ambitious design on top of no name recognition. I don't know if the balloons really made any sense. The chattering teeth make sense, but maybe you put the chattering teeth on the backboard so that they're higher up and people can see it. And see, I want to find Willie, the meat eater. Wild wolf. Belly a ghost. Mumsy-in-law. Zombie. Yeah, I kind of do get the feeling that some of these are supposed to represent people of color, and yet they had to be depicted as creepy white people instead. See if we can scale up this art and check here. Yeah, you just hear Willie. No, there he is. He's in the top left, and top left where the tree is the Woolly Willie, or is the werewolf guy. Interesting. Well, if I was going to remake this, I definitely would put some people of color in here, and if they're going to rap. And the idea of rapping and the idea of the black experience being added to a table, which is just, again, weird to talk about in pinball, is something that is sorely missing. In all fairness, it was not unheard of to hear stories of people of color getting run out of arcades while the young kids were left to run wild, which kind of sucks, because if you go back to like the 60s and 70s, I feel like pinball was much more of an open thing, but there may have still been some issues there. I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling now, man. And every single episode now is coming down to that. I don't know why that's the case. I certainly don't want that to be what's on my mind, but 2021, that's what's on everybody's mind. Well, I'm going to put this one on the favorites, because I definitely would want to come back to this table. My Hall of Fame score is 20. Still not really sure how that works. Actually, that is something I wanted to figure out. Hmm. 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 Let's see. Is there something on the front here that would explain anything more? Nope. So yeah, there's just no explanation as far as the Hall of Fame score. And you can't click on it and figure anything out from that. Then my tables, we are now up to 10 tables that would be my go-to picks. Which, oddly, like, there's some of these that I'm not sure I particularly remember that well. And oddly, I don't... Is this Gorgar? I guess that is. And this is 8 Ball Deluxe. And this is Funhouse. But what is this? Xenon. I don't even remember this table.
Welcome to Xenon.
It sounds like a better Bride of Pinbot table. And if I'm not mistaken, this came out way earlier than Bride of Pinbot. I don't know if I put this on the favorites menu because I figured I could get every single wizard goal, or if I actually like this table. Well, that also certainly highlights an issue that having bought all of these tables, by the time I am one row of 8 tables through in the 1990s era, I've started to forget some. And we still have 32 plus another 8, 43 tables in the 90s to cover, plus another 8 from the 2000 and 2010 era, which some of these are fairly brand new tables, so I haven't purchased them, and I probably will wait on that. And I don't think we've really been even halfway through the tables at this point. Probably by the time we've done the next row, I would say we will be halfway through. So it's still going to be a long journey. The good news is I feel like there's, and I said this for this row and it didn't really pan out that way, but I feel like this next row has a good chance of going pretty well. We've got 2 licensed products, and we're going to start to see real licensed products, whereas Elvira has been the real, like pretty much the only licensed table that we've seen. Phantom of the Opera technically licensed by license of the book, but not really interested in that. So decent chance that these 2 tables are going to be good. Decent chance these 2 tables are going to be good. World Tour or this Pirate one could be great. This could be great, and this could be great too. So there is potential. And as we go further and further down the 1990s era, that's just going to be the case. There could be a danger here where we might do just the license of Terminator, Addams Family, Doctor Who, Judge Dredd, Last Action Hero, Star Trek, and Twilight Zone in particular. And then that might be the last 2 straws that break the camel's back, as it were, as far as really being interested in playing new tables, because Twilight Zone and Star Trek The Next Generation are 2 really, really good tables that I remember very well playing a lot of. And then it might be a bit of a slog getting through all the other tables to get up to, say, Theater of Magic, which would be the next table in between that. So there's basically 11 tables in between Twilight Zone and Theater of Magic. And then Theater of Magic And Junkyard, I remember. So I'd be interested in that. Arabian Nights, I remember playing, but I'm not sure I particularly like it. Starship Troopers is a licensed product, but I don't think it counts as one that I would be really interested in. I'm probably interested in Monster Bash, but then, yeah, after like No Good Gophers, then you're to Ripley's Believe It or Not, unless this new Star Trek is actually really good. In a funny way, all these 2000 eras, like every single one of these tables might be incredibly good because there's just not going to be that much competition otherwise. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.